Well, good morning everybody. This is Capri in Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward, and in today's video, this is part 3 of my Maze Guild Making Challenge. To participate in this challenge, you don't need to do anything fancy or anything like that. Basically, we're just setting a goal and working towards it. Today's video is part 3, and this will cover days 4 and the start of day 5. And as for my own personal goals, I'm basically going to only use what I have, and I'm going to build on that, and I had to start out with 0 gil. As well as my primary focus is making gil with crafting. In terms of sales, everything has slowed down quite a bit. Yesterday, I actually didn't do any crafting at all. I came home from work, I was exhausted, but I gave it a good shot in farming mithrite sand and dark chestnut logs, and I was intending, since I ran out of mithrite nuggets and stuff like that, I was intending to refine that so that I wouldn't have to spend my gil on staple materials, and I could save whatever gil I had for those finicky little items, as well as items that I don't enjoy farming, which comes from mob grinds. Unfortunately, I fell asleep, so I wasn't able to do any of the refining or putting anything else up on the market board. The very little that I did sell was stuff like Varnish, which had a very little profit margin, so I don't expect to be selling that again unless if the prices go way up. And then a little bit of void glue that I had left over from like day 2, a grade 1 strength dissolvent that I crafted on the first day, some rings and a staff from goldsmithing, but that was about it, in terms of sales. And then the only things that I really listed yesterday was, I attempted to sell the high quality raw materials that I farmed since I didn't really need the high qualities, and the prices were escalated to, it was 600 and 750 for high quality mithrite, sand, and dark chestnut logs. And then before I went to bed, I also went ahead and started purchasing items from mob grinds that, I knew would be staples, such as, any of the Heavensward leathers, deep eye tears, and things like that. And I totally just got smacked in the face by a baby. Like I've said in previous videos, this is a very super casual just set of journals that I'm doing for this month's challenge. Alright, since I need to go to bed soon, I will tell you about my strategy for the rest of the day. So far today, I've spent maybe 2.5 hours or so just crafting things from carpenter, blacksmith, and armorsmith. And I'll probably, spend some time with goldsmith and the other disciple of the lands, or hands, to try to get as much made as possible before I have to go to bed, because I work tonight, yay! But yeah, even though I took a break to stop and record this video, things are selling like crazy. I've caught, I think, 3 or 4 different sales since I started narrating this video. And then even if I don't, even if I go to bed right now and I don't complete crafting or going through all of my crafters and making as much as I can before I go to bed, even if I go to bed now, I still have a pretty decent chunk of items listed on the market board, so that, I'm going to be selling stuff. And then on top of that, when I do have a chance to refine all of these materials that I bought and actually and gathered as well, but as soon as I have a chance to do that, my net worth is gonna shoot through the roof, and I'll be able to make more items here in the next few days. I still have 26 days left to see how much I can make. It's not worth stressing out about right now. So over the past few days, I've spent probably about 2 million gil on the market board, and, like I said, I'm just still building up my character, and here in the next couple weeks when I get a break, I should be able to just, go right through and make, a ton of money. So I apologize for nothing too informative here. I hope the Varnish gave you an idea of something that you can look at. Just because the profit margins weren't so huge on my server does not mean that it'll be the same way for your server. But I was able to sell through, I think, all of it. So it's something that sells, and I can see that. Just, it's definitely something worth checking out on your server. And then something I wanted to talk about while we're running through the footage of me looting and the record of my sales, I would like to just talk about, how this is not worth stressing out about. What is gil really? It's just pixels on a video game screen. The true reward comes from the fact that you know that you worked towards something and then you can see it improve, and that can be applied to everywhere in life. I know that I'm not stressing out about it because I still have 26 days left to complete this challenge, And yeah, I only have 400,000 right now, but I have so much in materials right now that once I actually do sit down and craft it all out, I'm going to, my guild's just going to skyrocket. So let's go ahead and talk more in depth about why I'm putting this much emphasis on getting materials this early on, even though it's dropping me way, large chunks into the guild that I've been making. And, at this moment this is just an example, I have over 300 Archaeonus skin, and I was able to purchase them up between 200 and 500 gil per unit, but we'll estimate and say that I bought them for 600 gil per unit, right? So 300 times 600 is 180,000. And if I bought 300 Corthan tea leaves, we'll round up again to 2,000 gil per unit. That means, gotta do the math, 600,000 for the Corthan tea leaves. So if you add them together, it's 780,000 gil worth of, the raw materials to make the Archaeonus leather. Now, I've sold Archaeonus leather at 5,000 a few days ago, but that's when the materials were way cheaper, and I was able to buy Corthan tea leaves at 800 gil per unit off of the market board because they were cheaper than the vendor. That happens a lot on my server, especially since it's so populated. Balmung is a server that it's been a year maybe since I've been able to make a new character on it. It's packed. So to make one leather, it theoretically takes 1,800 worth of leather plus 2,000, we'll round that up to 2,000, plus 2,000 for each Corthan tea leaf for 4,000 gil in investment, right? So even if I sold everything at 5,000, at 5,000 gil per unit, and minus the 4K investment, I'm making 100,000 or 1,000 gil per unit, right? Times that by 100, which I have way more than that, but we're still rounding down to make sure my numbers are smaller. But that's at least 100,000 gil in profit for refining those materials into high quality leather. So right now I'm worth 780,000 just in raw materials for the Archaeonus leather, and then just a big picture. There's lumber, there's cloth, there's so many different types of materials, and sub-materials within those materials that really my net worth is probably pretty insane right now. And then the reason I'm focusing on getting these materials as soon as possible is because really I want to give myself as much time. Yes, 26 days is a long time, but I want to give myself as much time to sell these as possible. Alright everybody, I would like to thank you all for watching my video, and a big thank you to everybody who's liked, commented. Speaking of comments, I would love to hear how you're doing. I've been loving all the feedback that I've been getting on these videos and past videos, and I want to keep that rolling. And if it takes me a couple days to respond, I'm terribly sorry about that. It is definitely not you, it is me being super busy or super tired, but I am reading through all of them and I have been loving them. So keep up the good work, and I will talk to you later. Good night.